How to configure a pod to use a volume for storage on Kubernetes K8s or Openshift OCP. I'm going to show you a live demo and some simple Ansible code. I'm Luca Burton and welcome in today's episode of Ansible Pilot. Let's talk about the Ansible module K8s. The full name is kubernetes.core.k8s, which means that it's part of a collection of modules of Ansible to interact with Kubernetes and Openshift Cluster. It manages Kubernetes K8s objects. Parameter. There is a long list of parameters of the K8s module. Let me summarize the most used. The name specifies the object name and the namespace or project name. They are useful to create, delete, or update an object. The API version specifies Kubernetes API. Default is v1. State, like for other modules, determine if an object should be created, present option, updated, patched option, or deleted, absent option. The definition parameter allow you to provide a valid YAML definition inline. Yes, exactly in your Ansible playbook. If you prefer to have external one, just specify the file name on SRC location. Demo time. How to configure a pod to use a volume for storage on Kubernetes K8s or Openshift OCP with Ansible Playbook. I'm going to create a pod that runs one container. This pod has a volume of type emptyDir that lasts for the life of the pod, even if the container terminates and restarts. Are you ready to have fun? Let's go! Wait a minute, would you like to learn more about Kubernetes pod and volume? Jump directly to the Kubernetes documentation. There is a lot of information about the container life cycle, the ephemeral container, as well as the storage option. Yes, there is a lot of things here, so definitely jump to the documentation and take a look. Welcome to my editor. I'm going to show you a playbook to configure a pod to use a volume for storage. First of all, let's begin our play with a name K8s volume demo that is going to be executed on localhost, and let me disable also system information gathering. The connection must be local because we execute on localhost. Let's define together one Ansible variable, my project. This is the Kubernetes namespace and OCP project volume-example. On the task list, first of all, let's create the namespace. So create my project namespace. In this way, I'm going to display my project name on the terminal. Using Kubernetes.core K8s module. First of all, let's define the kind, namespace, and what else? The name must be the value of my project. State must be present, no? What else? API underscore version v1, done. So in this first task, I'm going to create the namespace. Now, let the fun begin. Let's create Kubernetes pod. Okay, let's define together the module is the same kubernetes.core.k8s. State must be present. So let's create this object. Namespace is the same. So my project, here we go. Now let's start the Kubernetes definition. So think about like a YAML file embedded in our Ansible playbook. API version v1 kind is a pod, and let's define some metadata. The name is Redis. Yes, I'm going to use Redis service. This is a very common database for key value. Let's define the spec and the containers definition. So first of all, let's define the name of the pod Redis using the image Redis and using with a mount point of Redis-storage. We would like to mount this volume on mount path /data/Redis. This is the common area where Redis store the data. What else? Let's define also not only the container, we need also the volume. Oh, I don't remember exactly the precise location of a volume. Must be under container. So easy. Let's define the volumes. Let's give a name. Redis-storage is the one that we would like to mount. And let's use Kubernetes emptyDir module with no parameter. And that's it. We are able to create a namespace, a pod, and a storage, and glue everything together. My bad, I did a mistake. Volume is under at the same level of the container level. So let's move together all these three lines under the right spec. Now my Ansible playbook is ready to have fun. Let me quickly introduce my Openshift cluster. Let me log in like kubeadmin with a right password, and we got the dashboard with an overview of all available projects. Let me search for volume, and there are no projects with this name. So this is an so this project is not available in this cluster. So I'm going to execute my Ansible playbook to create everything. Welcome to my terminal. First of all, let me introduce my code-ready container. This is a full Openshift running on my machine. So here we have all the information to connect. So first of all, let me initialize the environment. So I'm able to log into the cluster as a kubeadmin, and let me copy and paste the API URL. First of all, let me try to connect to the project volume-example. Oh, what a list of things. Why? Oh, volume-example doesn't exist. Yeah, we saw already in the web UI, but we got a confirmation. What about the pod under the namespace volume-example? Well, if the namespace doesn't exist, why should the pod exist? Now, let me execute Ansible playbook for provisioning these resources, and let's get back to the Openshift or Kubernetes cluster in a while. So Ansible-playbook is the execution command. My code is under configure volume. So in a blink of an eye, Ansible interact with Kubernetes or Openshift, and we got a changed, which means some action were performed on the target host. If we execute again, we got OK, which means no further action are required. So everything seems sorted out. Let's have fun. OC project volume-example. This time I'm able to connect to this project, so something changed. And what about the pod? Let me list in the same namespace. Wow, we have a Redis pod running. Cool, this is a good sign. Does this pod has a storage connected? Let's sort it out with -- output YAML. There is a long list of configuration and okay, ta-da! We have volume, Redis storage. Yes, we have also other things, but we got it! Yay! Let's double check in the web UI, but everything seems sorted out. Back on my web UI, we have a long list of projects, and the last is volume-example. Let's take a look closer. We have one pod inside of this that is called Redis, exactly the one that we were expecting, running state. And let's take a look more in detail. Well, there are some containers named Redis and there's a Redis storage connected with a mount point of data Redis and is a read-write one. Cool! Exactly what we were expecting. We can take a closer look on the YAML file, and it's the same exact result that we got from the command line. So the container is Redis and the volume is correctly mounted as well as defined here. What else? Oh well, we could verify on the log part that Redis service is started and look like it is. So great! It accepts also connection. So everything is sorted out, but the best part is that our pod has a volume attached. Exactly the things that we were waiting for. Cool! Good job, Ansible. Now you know how to configure a pod to use a volume for storage on Kubernetes, K8s or Openshift OCP with Ansible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, keep in touch. We are going to have a lot of fun automating every day something in the IT world. Let's have fun. See ya! This video is part of our Ansible automation program. Sign up today on www.ansiblepilot.com for uninterrupted exclusive video and so much fun.